it's been a great trip for our players. Also, I do want to recognize Mark and the job that Oregon, a program that I know very well, studied them for many years and have tremendous respect for really Eugene, Oregon, the way they handle their business and the way they coach, obviously. So this is a great matchup. It's college football history. It's a game that I've devoted a good portion of my life to, and same with our coaches. And now our players can say they played in the first college football playoff and college playoff national title. So it's something we take very serious, and we're very honored to be here.
Talking to some of your players yesterday, it sounded like you've been doing a little bit of different things at practice, tempo-wise.
Oh, without getting into too much detail.
Be specific, please.
Next question. We have worked very hard on it, and I think the culture that Oregon's created is something I've studied in great detail. And I say culture because that's what it is. Ohio State has this culture, and so does Oregon, and so do all the great programs. Programs without culture, that's when you start to see failure. So it's driven. I think there's a misunderstanding of their culture where they play fast, they do everything fast, the way they handle their business, and that's something that we've beaten into our players, or not beaten in, but hard conversation. Also, the fine line in this is real. This is our 22nd week of football. How do you get a team ready? The good thing is it's not completely foreign to our players because we operate at a good tempo as well. But this one's different. We have the shot clocks up. We have a lot of emphasis about defeating the demon that takes place when fatigue takes over, and that's real. And that's something that we've addressed really hard. But ultimately, it comes down to those young guys out there playing on tomorrow night. But our number one concern is their quarterback. I mean, it is what it is, that we're facing that's true, and those are all addressed, but those aren't quite as serious if that kid behind center for Oregon's not who he is. And so that's our biggest concern. The wear and tear, I think that has more to do with the practice, the approach was drastically different than anything that we have ever done as far as the practice routine. Really leading up, not just this week, but leading up to the Alabama game too, and we just don't have the depth right now that probably most teams don't. But the scout team issues, those are all issues that you handle more in practice. So I think the wear and tear during the course of the game, it's unique because it's a very high-tempoed offense, but our biggest concern is that guy receiving the snap every play. I think he's one of the finest that's ever played the game. I made the comment before that this team has taught me so much about how to respond to adversity, because I can't remember coaching a team that's been through more. Certainly when the Braxton Miller situation, then throughout the course of the year, other things have showed up, and they have really responded. So that's the essence of a good team. If you can hit the storm and come out the other end stronger, that's called a real team. And how many are those out there? I've done this 30 years and probably can count them on one hand. And some people might think it's the luck of the draw. I think it's leadership and training, and we certainly had that this year.
Cardale Jones started off the season as your third-string quarterback, but has led you to a couple big wins. Can you describe what about him made that possible?
Still trying to figure that one out. He actually won the job in spring. He beat out JT, and he's a guy that was not a finished person, was not a guy that would finish drills, would finish, obviously finish spring number one quarterback, would be behind Braxton when Braxton came back, and then August came over, and summer training, JT beat him out. His leadership, his toughness. Cardale has always had talent, but really something happened in the last, couple months. I know he had a little baby girl. I know there's been some, everybody in life has a chance to push restart. Not many people on a grand stage like Cardale has, and he pushed restart and he hit the right button. And it's called selfless approach and a very serious approach to how he handles his business off the field and on the field. So that's one of the great stories in college football and one of the great stories that I've witnessed. And like I told people, this should be, of all the things that my children learn in school, I want them to read about the case study of Cardale Jones, because it's a great one. It's a great one for everybody to read and learn from it. Cardale, when he took over the game, actually in the rivalry game, near the confidence wasn't there for us to call a typical game. Against Wisconsin, if you really broke that down, we didn't really allow him to do very limited role as far as and he played great. I mean, lights out. Against Alabama, pretty much the entire, we let him go play, and then this one, he's got it all as far as really everything. So his preparation, the way he handled it, he's an incredible practice player that I really have not seen him that way. And before the Alabama Wednesday practice, I remember walking off the field again, looking at Tom and just saying, my goodness, that's one of the best practices I've ever seen a player have. So he's got the keys to the car, and the way he handles his business is extraordinary. The change he's made in his approach to the game. We played good defense throughout the year. Sometimes great defense, and other times not as good. We gave up some big hits. I think obviously it's the players, and I give Mike Bennett a lot of credit. He's a guy that has leadership qualities, and they haven't always been. He has the qualities where people follow. He's a very talented player, but his approach to the game the last month of the season has been phenomenal, and I see that carry on. And so it always starts with the defensive front. They played very well against Wisconsin, dominated the game, especially Adolphus and Mike Bennett inside. And they carried on, and they played very well against Alabama. So I give the credit to the defensive line, and Mike Bennett's a big reason. So a lot of reasons, but I've noticed the same thing, and the approach in practice has also been extraordinary. So I give a lot of credit to Mike Bennett and that group. Obviously, when you grow up a Buckeye and you grow up in the great state of Ohio, played high school football there, played college football there, that is big. I think everyone's dream is somehow, especially if you have a great experience growing up, which I can't imagine having a better one, in Ashtabula, Ohio, and with great fans still, great every year I try to go back and do the best I can to help, because it's a great place, and I could be more honored to be from Ashtabula, Ohio. So there is a strong sentimental feeling. Just once again we work at Mach speed, so there hasn't been a whole lot of reflection time yet, but it would be great to win one for the state of Ohio.